Yesterday we made it to Lake Charles State Park in Missouri. We're here for about 2 weeks. We're going to tour Branson and the Ozarks, so stick with us. It should be a pretty good trip. This state park is one of the prettiest state parks I think that we have seen maybe since South Dakota. Fred just corrected me. We are in Arkansas still. We haven't made it to Missouri. Missouri's our next stop. So this is, what's the name of this park again?
Lake Charles State Park.
Lake Charles State Park in Arkansas. We've done a little bit of research about the things to do in this area, and we're going to try to hit all those points. I think there's about 4 things to do that are just right around this park.
I'm looking for the trailhead, which is the longest trail.
Is that the trail you want to do?
That's the trail I want to hike. Here's the paved trail that goes around the lake. Looks very nice. I'm going to check on the fishing license.
So this is the office and where we checked in. It says live bait. Fred's going to go in and inquire about getting a fishing license because our site is right on the water, which we will be showing you.
What?
What'd they say about your fishing license?
Oh, they gave me a number to call. You call the number, give them your Visa card, and they will send you a code authorizing you to fish for so many days. That's it. Here they come.
Well, here's one of the, like the 4 things I told you about that were near this area. This is the Northeast Arkansas Regional Archives. It says there's some kind of a visitor center in there. So we are in the town of Powhatan, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and we did just go in that that archival building. It was pretty fascinating. There was a couple of people working in there, a lot of old books that focused on genealogy of like Northeast Arkansas, and just a lot of history books. There were people working in there, so I didn't want to film, but it's definitely interesting to stop in and look. So much history in that building. And they said to be sure to visit the courthouse. You can see the courthouse right over here.
Read it right there.
What is it?
It's a safe that the sheriff used. The sheriff had dual roles. Sheriff and tax collector. He would secure tax monies in here.
Huh. That's an old safe, isn't it? Wow.
It has double doors.
Oh, look at that. It sure does. Another safe.
That was probably for the cash, that lower safe. Probably.
So here's one of the first irons ever. It says inventions of the late 19th century. This is the toaster. Look at that. This Powhatan courthouse was built in 1840. Oh, look at all these Indian arrowheads that they have found. Some of them are really pretty. Look at that one. Look at this dumbwaiter. So you put the items here, and then that rope will pull it all the way up through that shaft. All the way up. Oh my gosh. Look, it goes way up there. That's pretty cool. I don't know that I've ever actually seen a dumbwaiter like that before. Look out the window here. Here's some kind of a vault. They have a little gift store in here too.
Look at this. Please video this.
What is this?
It's a courtroom.
Oh, wow. Look, they have the mannequins up here. Oh my goodness. There's the 12-person jury.
The attorney, court reporter, I guess.
This is a beautiful room, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess a lot of important decisions in lives were changed up right there, huh? I certainly am glad that we are here for the purposes that we are and not on trial for some crime. And this is the judge's chamber in here. Oh, nice. Look at it from this angle. If you, as a defendant, were sitting right there at that table, look how close you are to the jury and the judge. Wow. And look, right there's the top of where that dumbwaiter, there's where it ended at. So I guess you could put documents or whatever on the dumbwaiter and take them down to the lower floor or send something up. That's so funny. I guess the first trials here were held in 1888, and only men were allowed to serve as a juror. So we just walked inside that building and we were greeted by a superintendent from the Arkansas State Park System, and she was telling us that as we are standing right here, we are actually in the Ozark Mountains. But if you go down these steps into that flatter area, that's where the Mississippi Delta is. So she said this was the only state park in Arkansas that actually sat on the line of two different diverse regions. So the Mississippi Delta down there and the Ozark Mountains up here. Pretty cool.
Yeah, last night we ate at the
Burger King?
No, it's the Dairy King.
Dairy King.
We had a good burger. But this ranger said that Renee's is a better place to have lunch. And they're only open for breakfast and lunch. And they are located before you get to the Dairy King.
So where are we headed right now?
We will walk over to the jail. Then we gotta go hit Dollar General store.
So just at the bottom of the hill is this jailhouse building. Right behind the courthouse. Boy, this looks like an old building. Oh, wow. A lot of history right here in this little area. Powhatan. And it's, what, about 5 minutes from our campsite?
Pretty close.
From 1930 to 1935, this building was a canning kitchen. And then from 36 to 38, it was rented as a garage. And then in 1965 to 72, it was rented for a honey processing plant. When was it a jail? Oh, this jail became part of the Arkansas State Park System on July of 1970. So when was it actually a jail? It housed prisoners for 57 years. It closed in the 1920s.
In the 1800s.
So I guess you can't actually go in. It's locked. But look at that. Wow, people are pretty secure in there. Oh my goodness. Nobody's getting out of that building. There's no escape. And then right up here is the courthouse. Also right by the courthouse is this little boat ramp. Google Maps says that this is called Spring River, but it's really, really long when you look at it on the map. Very long. Well, the water is cold.
What do you suppose those two structures were used for? See those two tall structures on the opposite side?
Yeah.
I wonder what that was for.
I don't know. I wonder if it was some kind of a cable crossing. You know, for a ferry, like a little cable car.
Don't know.
It's kind of what it looks like it might be, huh? Isn't this beautiful?
It might
Wow.
tell us up here at the state park next door.
This is so pretty. Oh, did you see the little fish jump? That's a beautiful picture with the courthouse in the background.
Let me have my girl.
Come on, Lucy. Come on, Lucy. So look, here are two more structures on the other side of the river. So we are guessing that that was for cables for to pull a ferry across the river. But there's a sign down here we're gonna go see.
Come on. Come on.
You can really see them here. They line up with each other.
Maybe it says the Black River.
The Black River. Okay, well, Google Maps says the Spring River, but that makes more sense that this will be the Black River. We saw a cable crossing like this at Mammoth Cave National Park, right?
Yes, we did.
Well, in the 1800s, there was a pearl rush, kind of like the gold rush that went on in this river. They were found in freshwater mussels.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the large pearl was discovered in 1897 and the pearl rush began.
I think the steamboats, the river boats, came up here and they could go all the way to New Orleans. I think this river connected with the Mississippi at some point to allow that. Let's go, Lucy. I want a stinker. Come here, come here, come here. Come here, you little stinker. Now run away from me.
Lucy's a runner. Lily is not. Lily will stay right with us, but Lucy likes to explore. You ready to go, girls? It's an old log cabin. Okay, so if you come to this area, you have to eat at this place here. It's called Renee's, and it is it's like a established little culture in there. They've got this table full of men. It's like a revolving table, and it's all local people, and they're really friendly, and they sit and they talk to you, and they say tomorrow is Friday and it's Catfish Friday, and they start calling orders in at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and so they run an hour behind all day, but the catfish they say is really good. I had the chicken strips, and they had like this huge special of chicken strips, and they were delicious, and it was $7.99. But it's 12 o'clock now, and we got here about 11. This parking lot was slam full. Just to show you a little bit right now while I have a minute around our campsite. This is site 82 beside us. It has a little bit of water access, but not much. We're site 80. We have nice water access. This is site 79. That's a beautiful site with a nice big concrete pad and a bench right out there at the tip of that peninsula. 79 is a beautiful site. And then that's another lakefront site. I'm not sure what number it is. And then right beside that, look at that one. It's got that beautiful concrete pad with the drop off. There's another lakefront site across the way. There's another one up there. We're in Loop C. And actually it looks like most of these have the lakefront views. And it's a beautiful lake here. We drove into the town of Walnut Ridge, and we're going to take a look at this Wings of Honor Museum. This museum is pretty fascinating. There's a man that put all this together. He's been working on it for 25 years. He has a tremendous collection. This is definitely worth the stop. It's just gorgeous in here. So much history. This is an actual simulator that they use to train pilots for World War II. So you would sit in here and learn all of the controls. Look at that. Pretty awesome. Check out this old fire truck.
It's the model of a C-130. I've parachuted several times out of this plane.
Look at that old Jeep. So one of the major crops around here is rice. And look at these rice fields. This is part of the Mississippi Delta region. I think is that, yeah, the Mississippi Delta. I don't know that I've ever seen rice fields like that. They dig these trenches and then flood them. Pretty neat. Well, it's Saturday night. We've been here for 3 nights now. We are leaving in the morning. So we were here for 4 nights altogether, and you can see the park really filled up over the weekend. But it's still a beautiful park. There's nothing to do around this area. I'll tell you that. You've pretty much seen everything that we've been doing. I've been laying around in the campsite working on some artwork, and that's about it. We've been going up to this little place to eat breakfast and lunch. It's fantastic. I think I showed it when we were there before, but it's all the locals go there. That place is so crowded, I just can't believe it. And they have this all-you-can-eat catfish or some catfish dinner on Friday night, and Fred really enjoyed that. But there's not much to do around here, so you need to keep yourself entertained. Right now we're going back into the town of Walnut Ridge. We're going to eat at a restaurant called, I think, Don's Steakhouse. We're going to go try something different. Well, we just made it to Branson, and we're going to have to stay the night in a hotel tonight because we don't have a campsite. But we found this Paula Deen's restaurant, and we're going to go check it out for lunch. We just made it to Campbell Point Campground. This is an Army Corps campground. After leaving Lake Charles State Park in Arkansas for 4 nights, and then we stayed in the hotel last night in Branson. This park is about an hour from Branson. It's beautiful. I'm liking it quite a bit better than the Lake Charles Park that we just stayed at, and that park was beautiful too, but this tops it. I have never had an Army Corps campground disappoint me. This is site 44, and we are right on Table Rock Lake. It's gorgeous, definitely not crowded. The boat ramp is just right here. And then if you turn around, the restroom and shower facilities are right there. It's very convenient, and I think there's a lot to do nearby. Springfield is about 40 miles away from here, and they have the biggest Bass Pro Shop, I think, in the country or something like that. So Fred's been itching to get up there, so I think that's what we're going to do tomorrow. But we should have a good time at this park. As a side note, I really enjoyed eating at Paula Deen's restaurant. yesterday. It was great. Their fried chicken was superb. The lunch bill was about $80, but there was so much food, and it was definitely worth it, and everything was fantastic. I really recommend Paula Deen's restaurant. So Fred is so excited. We've made it to the largest Bass Pro Shop in the country. You ready to go in here, Fred?
Yes, I am.
How long do you think we're going to be here?
A couple of days.
Well, we drove about 40 minutes and we are at Pea Ridge National Military Park. And they say that this is the most preserved Civil War memorial in the country. Is that right, Fred? Battlefield.
Where the Confederates actually had an advantage in both men and cannons, about a 3-2 numerical advantage. Now, the Union forces under General
My name is Asa Penguin.
sub-commanders,
Well, they have this
General Ben
interpretive
McCullough
tour
and
that
General
you can,
Sterling Price.
you know, plug
the
into
Army was commanded
plug into
by
your phone
General Curtis, a
and
brigadier
go through here
general in the
and
Union Army, and he
see
commanded
all these different
the Union
battlefield
Army
sites.
of the Southwest.
This is
the Union
very
Army
well
consisted
done.
of about 10,500 men, and
This is a stop along the tour. This is stop number 6. And it's talking about Pea Ridge Battlefield. How did Pea Ridge get its name? And it got its name from the wild peas that grow in this area. And this is part of the Ozark Mountains. This battlefield, and listening to this interpretive tour, it really evokes a lot of feelings about how many people died here. These young boys who were really nothing more than just little farm boys from both sides. It's really something. I think there were like 16,000 people here fighting. We're at tour stop number 8, and it's down this little path, and they say that once you get to this overlook, you can see for 40 miles on a clear day. And then also you can see a line of cannons that formed the Union line on the second day of battle in 1860, what was it? 1862. March of 1862. It was cold. Oh wow, what a view. Pretty incredible. And a lot of interpretive signs here that you can read. This is something else. The interpretive sign said that the Confederate soldiers took shelter in these rocks, and then when the Union troops started firing their cannons, that these rocks broke off, and it was like shrapnel of rock did a lot of damage to their bodies. and then they had to retreat. This structure that you see here was it's the Elkhorn Tavern, and it was a makeshift hospital, I believe, for the Confederates until they were run off by the Union troops. But I think that it's been rebuilt except for the stonework. I believe that the stonework is still the original stonework. But it was destroyed. Fred, wasn't this tavern destroyed? Who destroyed it?
The bushwhackers.
And then it's been rebuilt, but the stonework is still the original, right?
And this was where the makeshift hospital was during the battle.
For the Confederates?
Yes.
Now, what is a bushwhacker?
Those guerrillas I was telling you about.
Where are they from?
Jesse James.
Yeah. So those were like kind of unorganized groups of like...
They were guerrillas. People in this area referred to them as bushwhackers because they would rob and steal from everyone.
And Jesse James was a bushwhacker.
Yes. And his brother Frank. They rode with William Quantrell and Bloody Bill Anderson, who were the leaders of these guerrilla groups. They were not sanctioned by the Confederate Army that I know of.
And they burned this building down?
Some bushwhackers did.
Oh, you can tell that the stone is really old.
It was not identified as to who the bushwhackers were that burned down the tavern here. So you don't know if they belonged to Quantrell's guerrillas or not. Likely they did not.
Look at this little dirt road that leads out of here. That's pretty cool. That was probably their main point of access through there. And the cannons that are set up. Isn't this something? Okay, so I don't really talk about it much on this channel, but I am a watercolor artist, actually a mixed media artist. And so when we came into Eureka Springs, I was hoping to find a little shop exactly like this. And Fred actually dropped me off right out front. It's called Adventure Art, and they have hand ground homemade watercolors, and they make their own watercolor journals. It's just a beautiful shop, and Amber is the owner in there, and she's been so nice, and I definitely recommend stopping in here if you like this kind of thing. But it's a beautiful shop. Thanks, Amber. Well, this is our last night at Campbell Point Army Corps of Engineer Park, and we have thoroughly enjoyed this. We will be here for 3 nights before we leave tomorrow, and we head towards Branson. This park has just been amazing. We had a great day. This so far has been the best part of our trip. This has been Lucy most of the time. We have her on this 50-foot lead, and she just sits here and watches all the little critters that are up there on that hill. She's had a great time too. When we got to our last campsite, there was a tornadic system that was coming through this area, and then when we pulled into when we actually viewed our site, there was about 8 inches of water standing on our site. That was at Table Rock Lake State Park. So we went to the office and we got a refund for the 4 nights that we were going to stay there, and we checked into a hotel. So we've actually been at a hotel for the past 3 nights, or tonight's number 3. And then we're going to stay there for the 4th night. So anyway, you know, we're making the best of it. Yesterday it rained all day. Today it's dried out, and we are out touring a little bit. We are at the Sight and Sound Theater in Branson. We are going to see the play or the production of Queen Esther. I would venture to say that this is probably one of the largest shows here in Branson right now. We have second row seats. Okay.
We know
This place is called Branson Landing, and there's a timed water fountain up here. But we finally have a break in this weather. It's been raining for 2 or 3 days straight. But it looks like a pretty good area where we can, you know, bring our dogs and relax a little bit before the show tonight. We're gonna see the Hay Goods, so we're really looking forward to that, especially after last night's show, which was just epic. The Queen Esther production was just beyond amazing. I've never seen anything like that. So the Sight and Sound Theater, I think, and their next production, I think, is going to be called David. That's for 2025. I'm sure it's going to be equally spectacular. But this is a really nice place to walk. Here's a great spot to eat. Joe's Crab Shack, right on the river, and they have live music up there. Really nice. Here's some kind, it says Branson Jet Boats. I guess you can get a ride on that and go down this river. Probably be a lot of fun. Pretty little green-headed mallard duck. Beautiful little duck. I think at night these are all lit up. Oh look, here's another restaurant right up here. Really nice. It's Land Shark. Well, we decided to stop at Wendy's and try a couple of their new orange creamsicle Frosties. They're pretty good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, here we are at Table Rock Dam. Check this out. There's the little power company right there, the the power grid for this dam. It's a rainy day. We were gonna go to Silver Dollar City, but we can't because of this rain. I have my umbrella right now. Oh, look how pretty this is. That water looks beautiful. Doesn't that water look clean?
It sure does. I bet there's some big catfish down there too.
And then the road is on top of that dam. We're gonna see if we can drive up there. Over here looks like what I believe that's called a sluice gate for this dam. I think that's what that's called. You can see it's letting the water, it's releasing the water slowly, keeping a consistent water level on Table Rock Lake. You know, what's confusing to me, Fred, is, I mean, that almost looks like a water stain up there. And what's caused those stripes going down the side of that dam?
Well, they do.
Rainwater?
They do release water ever so often to maintain levels.
But is the water that high?
Well, when you
I guess it is.
When you go across that dam, you see how high the water level is in
Yeah.
the lake.
Yeah, so that stain could be from water on the other side.
Yes.
So you'd like to fish this area?
Yes, I would like to fish out here. That water looks very deep. Probably a lot of big catfish on the bottom out there. And maybe striped bass. Striped bass like to hang out around dam areas.
What about that hatchery? I wonder where they release all the little trout. It's trout they release, right?
I think so.
This dam is on Fish Hatchery Road, and there's a fish hatchery right here that you can visit for free, but it's closed right now because they're building some kind of a conservation center. So here we pulled into Moonshine Beach, and you can get a view of the backside of this dam. Look, there's a fisherman down there. All right, so I don't know what that dam was that we were just looking at, the backside a second ago, but that was not the main dam. Fred thinks maybe that was kind of like a backup system dam or something, which would make sense. But here is the backside of the big dam that we were looking at the first time. And we are at Dewey Short Visitor Center. So which we'll go inside in a moment. See, okay, so here's the big dam where we were on the other side where the fish hatchery was. So I don't know what that was at Moonshine Beach. And look, there's the big gates that open up. Wow. Pretty impressive. And then here's this visitor center. Really nice. I think you're right that may have been a backup system over there that we were looking at. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
I don't think so.
So these birdhouses right here are for purple martins. Pretty interesting, and it's full. The apartments are full. We decided that we're going to check out this Veterans Memorial Museum.
See that plane right there?
Yeah?
It's a P-51 Mustang. That's what Carrie's father was shot down in during the Korean War. That plane right there.
Huh. This is a World War II 100-pound bomb. Here's a folding chaplain's field pump organ. It was carried in Europe during World War II. The chaplain and his assistant would set this up in the field and do services for soldiers. And these are all the people that lost their lives during World War II. Oh my gosh, if you can see how small the print is. Look at this. Look at these walls. H-A-Y-E-S. There's Charles Hayes. We spell our last name H-A-Y-S, but some of our family members is H-A-Y-S. Here's Clifford Hayes, David Hayes. There are a lot of Hayeses. I wonder if any of those are related to me. So the sign says that this is just the United States killed in action soldiers, but there were an estimated 60 million people killed worldwide during World War II. 60 million people. And that was back then with limited technology. Could you imagine how many people would die in a world war of today's times and technology? It's very scary to think about. These are the people that lost their lives during the Korean War. Oh wow, and in this room is a list of all the names of the soldiers, American soldiers, that lost their lives during the Vietnam War. It's contained in this one larger wall than the Korean Wall.
A young man from Fort Meade. I went to school with his brothers.
You're kidding.
Nope. James Spider.
Just thinking about all these young boys, and some young women. It's just too much to think about when you see all these names on here. It's just really mind-boggling. Here is the uniform of a United States Marine Corps sniper.
Yeah, I trained with this M60 machine gun in the Army.
Here's a North Vietnamese helmet of a Vietnamese man that was captured by a U.S. soldier. So this is a Huey helicopter?
Yes, UH-1H, called the Huey helicopter. Mitch flew that,
Mitch is our neighbor and good friend.
and I made 15 parachute jumps out of one of those choppers.
Nice. Here's a picture of our site at Lake of the Ozarks State Park. It is about, I don't know, 100 or so miles north of Branson. It's a huge state park. They have an airport here, a marina, a camp store. It's just huge. But this is a beautiful park. A lot of the spots are lakefront, just like this. So the forest park ranger was just here, and he was cutting up this mushroom that's on the ground. He said it was chicken of the woods, and he said he was going to take it home and flour it and fry it. He cut off all the sides right around here. He left all this, but pretty cool. Chicken of the woods. Something else that's pretty interesting here, that they have a lot of different kind of oaks that I'm really not used to, and I've pressed some of the leaves. This is the leaf of a blackjack oak. I don't know that I've ever seen one of those. And then this is the leaf of a white oak. I also have the leaf of a scrub oak, but I think I pressed it after it got a little bit crunchy, so I don't know if it's gonna turn out or not. It may, but this is the leaf of a scrub oak. It's huge. Pretty cool. Here's something else that I've just started this trip. I found this this little bird field diary, and it has all the birds listed in it, like I don't know, a couple of thousand. And as I find birds and maybe photograph them, I'm going to list them in this book. Like yesterday we saw that, what was it, a purple martin? I don't know when I'll ever get to see another purple martin, so I'm gonna do that and list them. And then just some of the notable birds that I recall seeing during specific trips. I'm going to go ahead and backdate those and fill in the book as much as I can with birds that I know that I photographed. So just something else fun to do. This looks like a really cool little comprehensive book. I'm videoing on my phone right now, so I'm sure that the video is a little jerky. It's not as steady as the GoPro, but yeah, so I want to walk down to the water's edge and take a look down there. We're actually packed up. We're getting ready to leave. We did not stay here very long. The reason being is ticks. There's a pretty strong tick population right now, and we do not feel like being their hosts. Even though before we left, I did spray the inside of the camper with permethrin, and I let it sit, you know, for several days before our trip. And I'm spraying my shoes and my feet with DEET, but it's still a problem. Look how pretty this is. Oh my goodness. The people with bass boats here, it's just amazing. I've never seen so many bass boats. But so this is Lake of the Ozarks. Let me put a picture of the full lake on the screen. It's huge. I guess it's a great place to come fishing because there are a lot of fishermen here. I know my father would have loved this. See these Canadian geese over here. They're noisy little things, but they're so pretty. Well, I'm standing at the water's edge, and right up here is our campsite. This is site 139. It's a pretty good spot.